Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. We're here today to announce agreements that will bring a measure of justice to approximately 1,000 underpaid, overworked car wash workers. I'm pleased to be joined by some of my great colleagues in government and in the effort to protect all workers and ensure equal justice under law. Our great City Council Speaker, Melissa Mark-Viverito, City Council Member Ritchie Torres, and the President of the RWDSU, who's been a real luchador in this struggle, Stuart Applebaum, the co-director of Make the Road New York, Deborah Axt, Jonathan Weston, the Executive Director of New York Communities for Change, and we have some of the victims of the abuse, bienvenidos, that we are talking about today, and Miguel Portillo, who you will be hearing from, and some of his co-workers will be here to speak afterwards. I also want to acknowledge some of my staff that have done an incredible job on this particular matter and on our fight to preserve the rights of low-wage workers in general. My Labor Bureau Chief, Terry Gersten, Section Chief Andrew Elmore, Assistant Attorneys General Benjamin Holt, and Heya Him. And we're here today because we've reached agreements with two interrelated car wash chains, and you can see the locations of their car washes here, among the largest in the city of New York. And they both engaged in rampant labor law violations and cheated hundreds of workers. My Labor Bureau, through an investigation, found that some of the car washes failed to pay overtime. The car washes didn't pay overtime. They illegally deducted pay for breaks workers didn't get. In some locations, they improperly skimmed a portion of the workers' tips, and they underreported their employees, both for unemployment insurance taxes and for their worker compensation insurance. These violations make it harder for workers to actually get workers' compensation in case of a workplace injury and deny the state of New York money that is needed for unemployment insurance. These violations also undercut the honest, law-abiding businesses that are struggling to compete with these folks who cut every corner, broke every rule, and abused their workers. Under the terms of our agreement, these businesses and their owners, John Lage and Fernando Magales, are going to pay almost $4 million in restitution. More than $2.2 million will be paid back to 1,000 workers who were cheated, and the rest will be paid to the State Unemployment Insurance Division and the Workers' Compensation Board. We will continue to keep an eye on these businesses to ensure that they don't stray from the path of righteous business practices and commit further violations. Our agreement requires that the car washes pay for independent monitoring of their labor practices for 3 years, including unannounced on-site inspections and payroll audits that will be reported to my office. This case will make a real difference in the lives of past and present employees for these two major car washes, but we are also here united today to send a message loud and clear to other employers. Violating workers' rights will not be tolerated in our city. It will not be tolerated in our state. There are plenty of honest employers following the rules. We will not allow these sorts of scammers to undercut the legitimate businesses that we want to thrive in our city. And there are many people, particularly in the low-wage sector, who somehow think this is a smart business practice to break the rules, that you can do things cheaper. That is not the attitude of us, those of us in the government and those of us who are active in the labor movement in the state of New York. There are people who support themselves by washing clothes, delivering pizzas, working in fast food restaurants, stocking shelves. It is not a suggestion to say that they have to be paid every cent of the wages they are owed. Workers' comp is not a suggestion. Unemployment insurance is not a suggestion. These are laws. This is theft. It is not smart business practice, and we will make sure that everyone in the state is aware of it. And para mis amigos que hablan español, los lavadores de autos tienen derechos. Estamos aquí para protegerlos. Lavar autos es un trabajo duro por el salario mínimo. Trabajan para mantener sus familias. Cada dólar es esencial. Vamos a someter a todos que violen los derechos de nuestros trabajadores. Thank you all, and I want to thank my colleagues who are standing with me and the other groups who have formed a part of really what is a very impressive coalition fighting for the rights of low-wage workers in New York. And with that, I would like to introduce a great champion of justice for working New Yorkers and for all New Yorkers, the Speaker of the New York City Council, Melissa Mark-Viverito.
I'm here with my colleague, Ritchie Torres, who both of us, not only my Speaker of the City Council, but some of us, the two of us that are here, had car washes that were impacted by this investigation.
In your districts.
In my districts, right, in our districts. Es un gran día para los trabajadores. Qué bueno verlos aquí. Y Miguel, qué bueno estar aquí. I got to say, this is unbelievably important, a settlement, and I really want to thank the Attorney General for the investigation. I really want to thank all of those that have been engaged in this struggle and the campaign. We've got Make the Road, New York Communities for Change, and our great labor leader, Stuart Applebaum, RWDSU, that have been engaging us as electeds for several years on fighting on behalf of these exploited workers. So I'm proud to stand here today with our Attorney General and all these organizations. And today's settlement is sending a very clear message that labor violations will not be tolerated in the city, period. Today, after years of fighting against systemic abuse, the workers at Lage Car Wash and these companies will finally have justice. Unfortunately, there are many workers in this city who may still believe that they simply have to put up with abusive and unfair practices by their employer. There are those who fear that no one will come to their aid if they speak up, and that they may even face retaliatory action against them if they voice their complaints. Today, we're here to tell them that New Yorkers have every right to demand that their employers follow all labor laws, and we will be here to stand by their side if need be. So I want to thank A.G. Schneiderman for being such a fierce advocate for the hardworking people of New York City, and I am proud to call him my colleague. He's worked tirelessly, and I commend him and the rest of the Attorney General's office. But today really isn't just about government officials stepping in to right a wrong. This fight started a long time ago with a group of workers who decided to stand up for themselves and found help from their community and organized labor. RWDSU and Make the Road and New York Communities for Change have been the ones who have been truly on the front lines of this battle with the Lage Car Wash employees from the start. Today's victory highlights the continued importance of organized labor and community groups in protecting the rights of those who are vulnerable to unfair and unlawful business practices. When we stand strong and rally behind one another, we can always achieve great things as a community. So I want to thank you so much for everyone that is here. Le quiero dar felicitaciones a los trabajadores que debido a su coraje, su fortaleza y en organizarse, hemos visto que el gobierno sí puede funcionar y asegurarles que sus derechos van a ser respetados. Así que estamos en un gran día hoy para la ciudad y le doy las gracias al fiscal general Eric Schneiderman.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Well, we're going from good to great, as they say. We've been joined by New York City Public Advocate Tish James.
Yay.
Thank you. And now Melissa makes a very important point. This always starts with the workers. It always starts with people who have to have true courage to stand up. And now we're going to hear from one who led in the organizing effort, assisted in our investigation, and is now a shop steward. Miguel Portillo. People like him make this happen. We are here to say, other workers who want to stand up, we will be here for you also. But it takes leadership, and for that, we want to invite Miguel to say a few words now. Miguel?
Muy buenos días a todos.
Good morning to everyone.
Pues ahora estoy acá para dar mi más sincero agradecimiento a nuestro fiscal.
I'm here to give my most sincere thanks to our Attorney General.
Gracias a él hemos tenido la oportunidad de recuperar parte de nuestro salario que había sido arrebatado de nuestras manos por muchas razones.
Thanks to him, we are now having the chance to have returned to us so much of our wages that were torn from our hands for many, many reasons.
Estamos totalmente agradecidos. Y no solamente yo, sino todo el grupo de carguacheros a nivel de la ciudad de Nueva York. Estamos muy agradecidos con él y con todo su equipo de trabajo.
And not just I, but all of our group of car wash workers at the city level are very grateful to him and to his entire team.
También quiero dar un agradecimiento muy especial a Make the Road, a NYC, RWDSU por todo el apoyo brindado en nuestra campaña.
I also want to give a special thanks to Make the Road, NYCC, and the RWDSU for all the support they've lent us in our campaign.
Esa es una pequeña batalla que se ha ganado. Esto significa que, si ganamos eso, ¿cuánto más nos podemos llegar a ganar?
This is a little battle. If this shows that if we can win this, imagine how much more we can win.
Y es importante pedirles a todos nuestros compañeros que no tengan miedo, que se unan en nuestra lucha, que verán en el futuro los frutos que cosecharemos serán inmensos.
It is critical that we reach out to our coworkers and to other workers across the city to say, join us, don't be afraid, step forward, and imagine what we can all gain working together in the future.
Nuevamente, muchas gracias por su ayuda. We are very thankful with you. God bless you and all your family. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias. Okay. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, and I would like to thank Deborah Axe for translating and also for being an incredible partner in this effort. She's the co-executive director of Make the Road New York, and they have played a leading role in passing New York's Wage Theft Prevention Act and are our partners in securing justice day in and day out. Deborah?
So thank you so much. I mostly want to thank the wonderful Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, who has been an ally for over a decade in the work to battle wage theft and to improve working conditions in this sector and many others. Terry Gerstein and her incredible team, amazing talent and guts, and we really appreciate all of the work that you've put into making sure that this case was airtight and beautifully handled. And congratulations to Miguel, to Ernesto, to all of our colleagues here who have been in the fight from the beginning, who had the courage to come forward. John Lage, Fernando Magalhães, and the other owners of this network of car washes have unfortunately been engaging in wage theft for many, many, many years. And this is the first time that we see real justice. Real justice because a couple of years ago, workers had the strength to come forward, right, to face up to potential retaliation and fear, and to say, we will not tolerate this abuse any longer. And because this Attorney General, community organizations and unions like the RWDSU said, we've got your back, it was able to come to fruition. And today we say to workers everywhere, if we can clean up the car wash industry, which is a dirty, dirty business, right, we can make a big difference in the way that working people's lives go in this city. It is time to build a New York for all of us. Thank you so much to our allies, the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, Stuart Applebaum, New York Communities for Change, the council speaker, our beloved Melissa Mark-Viverito, council member Ritchie Torres, who have both been on the picket lines with us endlessly in this campaign, as well as our wonderful public advocate, Tish James. Thank you all so much for being here, and we celebrate this victory with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, and we're now going to hear from Jonathan Weston, the Executive Director of New York Communities for Change, another great ally in this struggle for workers' rights and in many other struggles. Jonathan.
We mainly want to thank the Attorney General and his staff, Terry Gerstein and others that have really taken the lead on this, and the City Council Speaker, Melissa Mark-Viverito, who has been a leader in this fight in her district and throughout the city, Ritchie Torres, the newly elected City Council member who was on the picket lines before he was a City Council member, and obviously our public advocate, Tish James, who has seen many picket lines. And obviously Stuart Applebaum and his leadership at the RWDSU. 2.5 years ago when we started this campaign, the car wash industry was an industry that was paying workers below the minimum wage, far below the minimum wage. They were stealing workers' tips. They were finding all sorts of ways to squeeze pennies out of the already meager paychecks of car washeros themselves. And today is a day that we can really celebrate, a changing of one of the largest chains in this industry, of real enforcement, and being led by the Attorney General of New York, and on our path toward real victory for workers in actually increasing wage standards, bringing about the labor movement within the car wash industry, but within other industries as well. This is the beginning of a lot of work to really reform low-wage industries in New York City and around the state as we know it, and put wages back in folks' pockets. And we are so happy to be here today with everybody, and congratulations to the car washeros who really actually led this fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Thank you, and thank you all. And now, please join me in trying to encourage our shy and self-effacing public advocate to come and say a few words. And Tish, please don't hold back as you usually do.
So this is why Ritchie and the speaker and myself got into public office, because we wanted to seek simple justice. We wanted to join with our allies. And we wanted to transform the lives of those who, unfortunately, who have historically been locked out of the sunshine of opportunity, those without a voice. Under the great leadership of our Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, the doors are wide open for the immigrants, wide open for those without a voice. And today, their voices are heard, not only in this city, but throughout this nation. We must stand against injustices, against hardworking New Yorkers. We want to make sure that they are in the forefront of our mind. It's a proud day, particularly as a former Assistant Attorney General. This is a great day for not only my comrades, but for all New Yorkers. And I want to thank the leadership, obviously, of the Assistant Attorney General. I want to thank the labor union, and I want to thank my allies in the struggle. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we've got a new theme. Before you can clean our cars, you got to clean up your business practices. Muchísimas gracias. And now, Stuart Applebaum, he's sort of the opener and the closer. He started this struggle for low-wage workers in general, went outside the ordinary purview of what union leaders do, and we are all reaping the fruits of his courage and his effort. Stuart, please close for us.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank the Attorney General for his extraordinary work in securing this $3.9 million settlement. We are fortunate that here in New York, we have an outstanding Attorney General who is willing to stand up and fight for our state's most vulnerable. And I am honored to be here with him today. I also want to thank two of the tireless advocates from the Wash New York campaign, Make the Road New York and New York Communities for Change. Their commitment and hard work is helping to bring much needed change to the car wash industry and other industries here in New York City. I want to thank our speaker. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, Council Member Ritchie Torres, and our extraordinary public advocate, Tish James, all of whom have been part of this fight before they even assumed the offices they hold now, and have been on the front lines in making a difference in the lives of low-wage workers in the city. My union, the RWDSU, has been working to organize car wash workers here in New York City. Right from the beginning, we were amazed at the terrible conditions and culture of lawlessness that permeated the industry. Today's announcement is an important moment in changing that. But this moment would not have happened without the courage of the car wash workers who are here today and who are at work at their car washes today. This settlement is a triumph of justice for the individual workers who will be getting the money they have earned and are owed. But it is also a powerful statement of principle that working people can expect the full protection of the law here in New York State. Car wash owners who would deprive their workers of the wages they are owed are put on notice. They will be held accountable for their actions, and there is a steep price to be paid for those who would break the law. They cannot go on forcing employees to work 60 and 70 hours a week without proper and lawful overtime pay. They cannot pay workers less than the minimum wage. They cannot employ people off the books in order to skirt their responsibilities to the state. What the owners must do is come to understand that it is in their best interest to treat their workers fairly and honestly. Good wages will reduce turnover, increase productivity, and grow the economy. That is a proven fact. When the Wash New York campaign began 2 years ago, No one thought the workers could win, but win they did. 8 car washes in New York City have voted to join the RWDSU, and 6 of them have already won contracts that provide better pay, worker protections, and job security. But these battles are never over. There is always much more to do. The City Council needs to pass a Car Wash Accountability Act that will bring standards of fairness, safety, and respect to the industry, which has operated for far too long with no real oversight or transparency. We are pleased, we are delighted that the Attorney General, this Attorney General, will monitor this settlement and continue to oversee the car wash industry. We again thank Eric Schneiderman for that, and we will work with him to continue to improve the lives of these workers and low-wage workers everywhere in this city who must thrive along with their employers. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Traducción, Stuart diga más o menos, hasta la victoria siempre. Thank you, and we will now take a few on-topic questions directed by...
We do have time for a few questions. If you can say who you are, what outlet you live first, and your question for that, that'd be terrific. Go ahead, right here. Sorry, right here.
Hi, Eric Pearson from Wholesale. A question for the speaker. I know 2 years ago when the investigation began, and also for the public advocacy, then public advocate Bill de Blasio investigated where city agencies were getting cars washed and found that they spent $170,000 in the past 2 years at the age wash here. And I just wanted to check and see if that's still happening, if there are plans to maybe restrict the city agencies to the washes that are not during the union or other plans.
No, that's something that we definitely need to pursue and follow up. Obviously, it's an important way that we as a city can also put and exert pressure, is figuring out where our dollars are going. So that's something that we will do follow up on. And also, just to speak to what Stuart raised, also the other issue that we will be taking up in the City Council is the Car Wash Accountability Act, of which I was the lead sponsor in the last session, and make sure that that passes as a way of putting further pressure on the industry to do right by its workers.
Look, in every case, we make a determination as to what we can prove and what we can't prove. Our first priority is getting the wages for the workers and fixing the problem. We don't want to put people out of business. We just want them to abide by the law. So this is, we've made a determination to pursue this civilly rather than criminally, and that's a case-by-case decision.
Compensation for each employee.
Oh, it varies by employee, but it's 1,000 workers splitting up about $2.2 million. So people were there at varying periods of time.
So can we hear from Terry in Spanish, if you don't mind? Can you tell us, can you come to the podium and tell us exactly in Spanish qué exactamente estaban haciendo, de qué manera estaban estas personas abusando? How were they exactly? We can do that later.
Well, I urge everyone to talk to Terry, my brilliant Labor Bureau chief.
We can facilitate that after. Any other questions for the Attorney General, the other speakers?
Is this everything owned by Lanes and this other guy?
Yes, they were the principal investors, and there was some of them that they both had an interest in also.
So this is a chunk, but what's the rest of it out there? Are there others that are doing the same thing? Obviously, Lanes is pretty good, but in the past he's settled other agreements, which he then continued to act badly, which led to catch him on. So what's the rest of the industry like? And of the 8 that you've organized, are any of them on this chart, or they're all good at it?
Yeah, and I mean the first thing is we insisted on having them pay for monitoring for 3 years. We're going to have unannounced inspections. We're going to have audits. So we're not taking them at their word that they're doing this, but also understand when these workers, they stood up before they had any legal support, before they had any political support. Now that they've stood up, I think it's going to be very hard to turn their volume down, and this also is encouraging others to come forward. There are other bad actors out there. We're pursuing them too, and not just in the car wash industry. Stuart, do you want to say something about the organizing
Yes,
in the union shops?
We got involved with our partners in this campaign to go after the bad actors in the industry. Some of the bad actors have been organized now and are included on this chart. I would think that what has happened today is going to be a real warning to everybody else in the industry that after what is happening today, and with the people who are up here, the Speaker of the City Council, with the Attorney General, with the Public Advocate, with a member of the City Council, that they better be concerned if they try to violate workers' rights going forward. Not only is the Attorney General making a difference for people whose rights have already been taken from them, he is making a difference too in people who are not going to continue to experience the exploitation that would have occurred if it were not for his standing up and doing this investigation. We will continue to organize. We will continue to go after the entire industry, along with the Wash New York campaign, Make the Road New York, and New York Communities for Change.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.